Sami stood in the front yard, spinning a soccer ball. The golden sunlight bathed the street as neighborhood kids played tag and rode bikes. Sami's mom called out, "Sami, don't forget to be back before dinner." "Okay, Mom," he shouted back, kicking the ball towards the gate. Just then, he noticed Mrs. Hana, their elderly neighbor, slowly walking home. Her bag of groceries wobbled as she tried to balance it on her walker. Sami paused. "Should I help her?" he muttered to himself. The idea of lifting that big bag seemed overwhelming. What if she thought he was too small or clumsy? He looked around, but no one else seemed to notice her struggling. That evening, Sami couldn't stop thinking about Mrs. Hana. He poked out his dinner while his family chatted. Finally, he spoke up. "Mom, Dad, today I saw Mrs. Hana carrying a heavy bag, but I didn't help her. Why not?" his mom asked gently. "I thought I couldn't do it. I'm just a kid." His dad set down his fork. "Sami, do you know how ants carry things?" "Ants? What do ants have to do with anything?" His dad smiled. "Ants are tiny, right? But when they work together, they can carry things way bigger than themselves. They don't think, 'I'm too small.' They just help." Sami frowned. "But I didn't have anyone to help me." "That's because you didn't ask. Next time, try to be like the ants." Sami nodded, not entirely convinced. Sami saw Mrs. Hana again. This time, she had even more bags, and she looked even more tired. Sami took a deep breath and ran towards her. But before he could reach her, an idea struck. He darted back to the playground, where his friends are hanging out. "Guys, come with me," he called out. "Where?" asked his best friend Zaid, who was mid-swing on the monkey bars. "Mrs. Hana needs help with her groceries. Let's be like ants and do it together," Sami exclaimed. Zaid laughed. "Ants? Really, Sami?" "Trust me," Sami said. "It'll be fun." Soon, Sami, Zaid, and two other kids were marching towards Mrs. Hana. Each kid grabbed a small bag. Mrs. Hana looked startled at first, but soon started laughing. "You kids are wonderful," she said, her voice full of gratitude. "It's like having my own team of little helpers." The group laughed, and Zaid joked, "We're the ant squad now." Mrs. Hana reached her door with their help and gave them each a candy as thanks. "That wasn't so hard," Zaid admitted. "It was actually kind of fun." Later that week, the word about the ant squad spread. Soon, other kids in the neighborhood started helping up too, picking up trash, carrying things for neighbors, or even holding doors open. Sami felt proud, but noticed something strange. The more they helped others, the happier everyone seemed. Even the grumpy old whisper fairy waved at them one afternoon. "Hey, Sami," Zaid asked one day, "do you think ants know how much they're helping?" "Probably not," Sami replied. "They just do it because it's the right thing to do." The kids nodded, and they all agreed to keep helping wherever they could. One evening, Sami sat on the porch with his dad. "You were right about the ants, Dad. It's not about doing something big. It's about doing what you can." His dad smiled, and sometimes those small things turn out to be the biggest. Sami grinned as he watched Zaid and the others helping a neighbor fix a bike. He thought to himself, even the smallest hands can make the biggest difference.